Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy Thursday evening. Hope you guys everyone had a great week, whether you're here on screen with us or not. This is, I guess, the Christmas edition, I guess, of our hangout because I'm anticipating nobody is going to be here a week from today. Is that right?
I will not.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
Correct.
good. That's probably a good sign that we're not like degenerates to that extent. But yeah, so welcome everyone. We got, in case you missed kind of what was going on the Instagram side of things, we were looking for what topics that the community was interested in hearing. So we took suggestions and we got a bunch of things that we're looking forward to discussing today. Hope everyone's having a good holiday season. I unfortunately did not have much time to change after my work ugly sweater day, so that's what I'm wearing today. And yeah, how's everybody been doing? How's life treating us?
Did you make that sweater, Joey?
I did. It was one of those Target build your own ugly sweater kits, and I tried to be true to the name of the kit and made it as ugly as I humanly could.
Very successful.
Thank you.
I like it.
I guess we got to have like a full thing. It's like falling apart.
Oh, there you go.
It's a Santa face, and you can see it's like falling apart here. He only has one eyeball left. Yeah, I'm missing that guy right there. Oh, didn't mean to flip you off. Yeah, I made this 10 years ago, and it's one of my staple sweaters.
But you've worn that more than once?
Oh yeah, man.
Cool.
Every year for 10 years.
Wow.
Does that thing get in the wash?
I think I have washed it. I don't know if I should be concerned that I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's funny you say that, Joey, because I have a Celtics ugly sweater that I wear on Christmas Day, which we'll get to in 1 second. But when everybody was going through their eBay like searches, and that was a trend for like a week or two, and then they see it on social media, so everybody does it. I had the attention span to do it for about 2 seconds, but one of the first things I saw was the Christmas sweater that I bought on eBay like 7 years ago, and I'm like, oh well, it's been 7 years. But I will not be wearing that this year because the Celtics did not make it onto the Christmas Day games for the first time in a couple of years. So I guess I'll actually have to pay attention to my in-laws when I host on Christmas Day. The in-laws, so they usually come up. I make them like a lunch whole serving thing, and then normally I get the right to kind of tune them out while the Celtics play in the background. But this year, I guess I'm gonna have to spend all my time with the lovely in-laws. So a little sad on my end, but I'll still be wearing my Christmas sweater. So I'm with you on the ugly Christmas sweater.
Is there any way you could like pretend to take care of kids or something?
No, but I bet if I put on a recorded game, nobody would know. So maybe I'll just have to fake it till I make it.
All right, you got a week. I actually do have a ugly Christmas Kings shirt. That's what I'm wearing to school tomorrow. So I probably I'll put a picture up at some point.
If it couldn't get worse than a Target made ugly Christmas sweater, it's actually a King's shirt that you're going to torment everyone with.
I just keep digging myself into a deeper hole. Does anyone have anything from the week they want to share? I think you're going to struggle with me today because I don't know, for some reason I'm feeling particularly talkative. So I'm going to have to try to restrain myself a bit.
I got to pick up, you guys are going to be really jealous of.
Let's see.
So it's 0809 Exquisite RPA of Sonny Weems.
Beautiful.
So look at that patch.
That is awesome.
Beautiful patch.
A whole $8 shipped, I think.
Straight fire.
I wanted to ask because, Jason Thompson is from that rookie class, and I see, exquisite RPAs of his come up all the time. I'm always contemplating, like, what is that worth? It's like, I don't want to pay $20 for that. So it's nice to see that, I don't know if Sonny Weems is similarly bad as an NBA player, but somebody with not a name recognition would get $8. So that's nice.
Well, I mean, they're out of 225, so they're pretty abundant. I would imagine you can probably get one for a deal, but
yeah,
might take some looking. They don't come up a lot just because they're not worth that much. So unless you got one of the bigger guys, but yeah, just like my Nuggets cards.
What's the descriptor on the back of that, Ryan? Because I like a lot of the like the second half of the Exquisite run. They'll give you pretty explicit like directions about where the material come from. They'll either say game one, or they'll explicitly say like NBA rookie photo shoot. Like they give you some good insight. And I think it's a fun way to kind of track the memorabilia sort of history lineage through through cards. It'll tell you exactly what it was.
Yeah, it says NBA rookie photo shoot memorabilia of Sonny Weems and an autograph of Sonny Weems. The autograph was signed in the presence of the company representative. So
Yeah.
it does.
I think that adds a nice little detail over just saying like player worn or something. It's it's from their first sort of NBA experience after the draft. So I always think that's kind of cool.
Right.
Adam, Tim, you guys have been a bit quiet. What are you guys? You guys have anything from the past week, or how you guys been? How's life?
Doing good. Yeah, I have a couple cards coming in. Nothing to show, right now. But one thing I had happen to me, and I was talking to Steve about it, is I bought this nice Durant Warriors card I was looking forward to getting, and the guy said, "Oh, we don't have it in stock, but don't worry, I'm going to send you different cards instead, and it's going to be fine." No, that's not going to fly. That's the first time that's happened to me. If it gets lost in the mail, I get it. All right, send me some stuff. But just basically, he agreed with himself that it's going to be fine. So I demanded my refund there.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I saw you post about that. So was he gonna refund you and send you those cards, or just?
He said nothing about a refund since I asked him. He was like, "Oh, don't worry, they're on their way already. They're going to be fine." I'm like, and to be honest, I'm looking for recently a lot of nicer Warriors Durant cards. There's not many, so I already have the ones I kind of want besides that one, so I'm not really sure what he said. They're higher value, but I'm not really sure I would enjoy what he's sending. He didn't even show me what he's sending either.
It'd be a nice little risk to see what he says.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
that's so odd, man. Does he think people are just buying cards just for the value or something? Like, hey, I'm going to send you some similar value cards. You're going to be fine. It's like, no, I bought the card that I bought because I wanted that card.
Yeah, at least be like, hey, I don't have it. I'm sorry. What about these two? And show me. And then kind of just insisted he's sending already. No way, they're on their way. I'm like, I didn't agree to this.
Yeah,
but
it's quite odd.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, Ryan, I feel like to your point, that's probably exactly how a lot of people think, that as long as value is in line, it doesn't really matter. That's all that matters. So,
I mean, it's kind of true nowadays. People just look at cards as like potentially I'm going to resell it or something, but we're still out there, collectors that actually collect for a purpose and a reason.
I had one pickup I was going to share, a little different than what I would normally buy. Obviously, I'm a Celtics fan, as we all know, but in 2021 75th season, I had a partial season ticket pass to the local team, the Pacers, closest ones to me. And randomly the other day, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, just strolling through. The guy had a Malcolm Brogdon opening night game worn jersey from the game, and I was at this game. It was an overtime win. He had a double-double. So it was pretty cool. It's got all the 75th anniversary kind of metallic pieces on it. So I thought that was a pretty cool pickup.
You have a lot of jerseys, Adam?
I have a few. Not a ton of NBA ones. I have this one. I've got Al Horford, and I have a Robert Parrish game worn.
That's awesome. That's such a cool pickup. What did he have any sort of evidence or proof that it was the game?
Yeah, it's got the MyGray or McGray's, however you say it, authentication.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
which is about as good as you get. You can never get anything, but they're as good as you get and trustworthy.
Yeah, for sure. I had a couple pickups. I put them on Instagram, but they were from like a consignment combined shipping thing I got. So just wanted to throw them out here. One of them is another addition to the King's Lasers, which is the Sabonis gold.
Yeah. I love that shot.
I know. I can't get over how awesome it is of a shot. And so yeah, I love that picture. And obviously I like the lasers. That was the gold, so that's one of the better ones. But yeah, so that's probably my third of that card, or third parallel of that card. And then I got an Isaiah Thomas flawless patch auto. This year's flawless too. That's what came in for me.
I don't have anything to show off as far as pickups, but I did bring a few cards just because of the holiday season that we don't have to talk about them in depth, but I thought I'd show off a few Christmas themed cards before we get into the questions that some of our listeners or other hobby hangout friends have submitted. So real little show off. So I got a pair of Paul Pierce. This was from 2013-14 Immaculate. they got an insane amount of net stuff that year. So both of these come from the same pair of shorts. So you can see Ryan was talking about the logo man there. So they use that as an emblem. And then this is from 1617. I forget, special events or something they called it, but they used a chunkier set of the shorts there. And then they did some really cool cards during the lockout season. So 2010-11, I think these come from. This was a Christmas, and I was talking about probably before we got on that I think the NBA on Christmas is sort of like a real special day. I really enjoy it. I think it's a marquee day for the NBA. So Panini did a whole set of relic cards. So these are 2 prime pieces. I think both are out at 25. I was grabbing these on ComC for cheap back in the day. The Haslam I actually picked up because he was the last athlete still active that was older than me. So I'm officially middle-aged. That's how I've always told myself I'd be middle-aged, is when there's no more professional athletes my age. And then Ryan and I were talking about, before we got on, really appreciating back in the Adidas era that they did some real specific uniforms just for Christmas Day, that there's more of a monochromatic theme to them. A lot of the teams had very similar, that use different lettering or stuff. So this is a Matt Barnes out of 10 from Court King's Performance Art, which is not a Christmas themed set, but this is a game dated set, and this one happens to be from the Christmas Day game. You can see the different uniform, the different colors they use. So just cards that, like, when I'm on ComC and I see unique stuff like that, I'm really into the Christmas Day stuff, and so I'll pick those up for cheap when I can. Just sort of a fun way to mix up the collection a little bit. So just thought I'd share those given the holiday that we're in.
I like it.
That's awesome. Very cool. Mark, what's up? There's Mark hanging out in the chat, and Caleb. Thank you for the compliments, Mark, on the jersey. I really appreciate that. And then, yeah, we talked about this. I think you guys mentioned, or Steve, you mentioned before, that they're not having Christmas jerseys, or we don't think they are. So, yeah, Caleb also says bring them back, but very cool. If you guys don't mind, I want to share kind of like a interaction I'm having on Instagram right now. That's, I don't know, it's just kind of like leaving me frustrated. It's and there's actually 2 things. I told you, you're gonna have to shut me up or mute me to stop me today for some reason. But the first one is I saw a card on a story sale that I really wanted. It was a lot. It was like hundreds of bucks, more than I typically spend on cards. So I saw if the seller was interested in trading. We've been going back and forth, and the frustrating part is it's like every time I send a message, I wait a day or 2 and then have to follow up, and then he counters me, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So it's like, it's been a week or a week and a half. I message him, here, some cards I have. Are you interested? 2 days later, after I follow up, he says, okay, well, what about, this offer? I say, oh, okay, what about I counter you at this, like this card and $100 or whatever. And then 2 days later, I follow up again. He said, well, what about these 2 cards? And I was like, okay, well, what about, and I'm just like, I feel like it's a really big card and for me, and I'm just so frustrated because I feel like I'm so close, but I feel like there's no end to this like negotiation. So yeah, I don't know, just venting that out there, because I'm like, oh my goodness, you sell a lot on Instagram, just get back to me and like, let's make this happen.
Joey, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. I think you need to just let this one rest and walk away from this. I say that with a smile on my face, but there comes a time where if the deal is such a headache, just walk away. And that person's either going to repost it for a price that's more comfortable for you, or someone's going to overpay for it and you weren't going to pay that anyways. Or you just need to bite the bullet. But I mean, if somebody can't respond, it's like when I talk to the students at school and they're frustrated with their friend who didn't get back to them. They're like, I know she's on the phone right now. Just text me back, right? Like, she's always on her phone. He's seeing your messages and for whatever reason not getting back to you. I like that headache. I would just walk away from that. And I'd leave it like, hey, here's my offer. If you have one, accept it. Let me know and we can finish the deal, and then just stop messaging. I mean, some people just don't know how to sell cards. Frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I think that every time we've actually had the interaction, it's been pleasant. He apologizes for not getting back. Oh, this fell down in my messages, whatever. But yeah, I guess it's a fair point. I'm like, how long am I going to chase after this? Yeah.
Is it some trade cards too that you got involved, or is it?
Yeah. So Yeah, so like the last so the last thing that I had sent over was like an offer of a couple cards and $50 or something. And I'm just waiting again. So now I'm going on tomorrow morning will be 48 hours, so I'm just waiting again.
Yeah, I gotta admit I'm kind of bad at the trade stuff, especially if it's like, I could use that. I could maybe, it's tough because you're like, do I really want the cards in trade? So I probably wouldn't wait multiple days, but I kind of understand it. But yeah, that does sound frustrating, man. Sorry.
On the other end, though, Ryan, I think it's easy enough. Like if you're like, be like, you know what, that's probably a pretty fair deal. Give me a second to like think about the cards and what I might want to do with them. I'll get back to you in like a day or so. You like at least like keep the community,
Yeah.
like just to ghost someone and then get back to them, but you're getting back to them with a counter, making things more confusing. I know there's enough people out there that try to like just confuse you so that they can win a deal. That it just like at some point, it's not worth the headache.
Could be that too. Yeah, because I have definitely done that. Like, yeah, let me give it some time, and then maybe a week goes by, and I think that's the answer. But yeah, if they're getting back to you after that week, that's like, nah, maybe not worth pursuing anymore. But hope you land it.
Yeah, I think my hesitation is that I'm so bad at moving cards that I don't want. Like, I don't like posting, selling, shipping, listing. So if I feel like I'm close for, relatively significant value, I'm like, oh, I just want to make the deal to get rid of those cards that I don't want and then get the card I
Yeah.
want. But
Is the person you're potentially transacting with like another collector, or are they just simply in it for a flip?
I think they collect, but then they also are very, very frequent like story sellers. So
Okay.
I think they do have this sort of Instagram dealer and following with them as well.
I think that kind of changes things too. Like to Ryan's point, if he's collecting and you're offering him something in trade that he may not necessarily have to have, versus if it's just somebody looking at value for value, it kind of changes that. If he's basically going to put whatever you're trading him, no matter what the trade is, back on his story sale in a couple of days, you would think it'd be a little easier to figure out what the bottom line is. Does this make sense financially or not? And keep it pushing rather than kind of drag it along forever.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah. And real quick, I'm gonna make this quick. A celebration of sorts for me because I don't know who picked up on this, and I know Steve, when I posted this a month or two ago, you had responded to me. One of the last two cards I needed for my stat line memorabilia set was up on Card Hobby, and I like 12 hours after the auction ended. We had talked about this too on here. Um, I saw it in the sold listings. Well, happy to say that it came back up for auction last week and I won it. Thank goodness, for barely more than it went for the first time. So like,
Nice job, buddy.
I'm one card away.
Yay.
So yeah.
And am I wrong? I'm trying to remember when you shared that. Is the one card that you need potentially available, but someone just has it up overpriced? Because I remember Adam saying to you, like, at some point you might want to pay up for a card because if you don't get it now, you'll regret not getting
Yeah.
it. So, could you complete the set if you needed to?
I could not because the one that
Okay.
was available and overpriced, in my opinion, was the Dirk. And that was the one that I got on Card Hobby.
Gotcha. Okay.
At I think a fourth of the price of what I offered the guy on eBay. So
Awesome.
not
Congratulations,
disappointed.
buddy. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. So anyway, I should probably stop talking for the rest of the time and let you guys go for it. But
What are our topics?
yeah, I'll just introduce what we got. So we had 5 things. I don't know if we'll get through them all. I want to give proper attention to everything and let everyone say their piece or whatever. But I'll just go through them in no particular order. Hoops Hobby on Instagram, he asked just for us to share our binders. So I don't know if anyone brought binders or has them easily accessible. Yes, Tim. Yeah, this is made for you, dude.
I got binders too, but I'll let Tim go first. You got them queued up.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Unmute yourself, sir.
Oopsie daisies. I was collecting baseball pretty exclusively, and I've always loved basketball, but I saw Ryan's binders before I really dove into basketball, like 6 or 7 years ago, and his Nuggets binders were so inspiring to me. Such cool high-end chrome cards. So that kind of inspired me to do what I was doing with baseball in basketball. this A to Z project. Anyone who who meets my statistical threshold since 1990. So thank you, Ryan, for helping inspire me. And, I'm like, I didn't start on basketball, and it's a big, long project, but I'm like, let me start doing it.
Nice.
I got to get started at some point.
That
But
was that year, I think, that I posted nothing but binder pages.
oh yeah,
I did that for about a year because I was like, I don't know. I was kind of getting lazy. And then I realized it actually takes more work to take a photo of a binder and make it look good.
or get the right lighting too, right? Isn't it difficult sometimes?
It's hard, man. Yeah, I was like, I want to get through, like, I think it was my Chrome set, which I'll show it off here in a minute. But yeah, they're hard to capture.
Hoops Hobby also, he's the guy I guess asked this question. He has some nice binders going with those Pacers cards. I think autos it is.
Yeah, with those autos, I think he's collecting one of every Pacer auto. I could be wrong, but
yeah, I think that's what he's going for. It's really great.
And he's got a great blog. It's hoopshobby.com. So he's got a great blog that talks about that stuff and goes into it.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of act like my wife and be teacher here, kind of be in this kind of position. See what you can see. You can see somewhat well up.
Just pretend you're Vanna White revealing the letters. Just go nice and slow and open them with class.
This is A. I've completed A. There's no one else I need for A as far as I can tell.
Great start.
So it starts with Mahmoud Abdul Raf. And I try to get the coolest ones. I've spoken to you guys, but for anyone who's unfamiliar with my collection, I try to get the coolest looking ones I can find rather than necessarily the most expensive ones. Some of them are pricier than others, but Mahmoud is not that expensive. But I feel like it tells a story of a player and all the teams that they've played on, how they've aged and how they looked in different uniforms, or it kind of spurs different memories. So I find this to be really fun to just sift through my own binders or other people's binders. But this is just A. Some letters need more than one binder.
So that entire binder is just A players?
A.
Dang, that's
Correct.
a fat binder.
Yes. So I'll just kind of turn to some random pages here, but like we got Ray Allen on one page here. Some of the Hall of Famers like him, I do too. I get greedy sometimes. Yeah, but I'll go to the last one here before I pass it off to you guys. Here's Giannis. He's someone I have trouble not getting a couple pages of. He has some really nice cards. I really like his cards in the greens and the purples in particular. But I'll skip to the end here. Anyone have a guess on who the last player is in the A binder?
Oh man, that's a tough
I got
one.
nothing.
Kalina Azubuike. Kalina Azubuike. He didn't reach the stat total for 5,000 points or 3,000 rebounds or 500 threes, but he did average 10 points in a game. So those guys I do include in my collection as well. So here's Kalina. And I think there's even a Knicks card. I believe he got injured. He barely played or didn't even play at all. But it's a fun way to collect, and it keeps me going. And it's very affordable, honestly. I mean, quantity-wise, maybe I'm not rushing, basically is what I'm saying. So this is going to take me decades, but I find it's pretty affordable and a fun way to keep going. And
I was just gonna say, Tim, before you transition away from how you're talking about your binder. So a guy like Giannis, right? He's gonna change teams probably sooner rather than later. So for an active player, do you just add another binder page, or will you pull stuff out and start adding Knicks or Heat's cards when they're available? In a year or two. Like how do you handle the current players versus the retired players?
Well, they're all in the same binders. So, for instance, Giannis is probably next to maybe some retired guys, alphabetically. But sometimes I'm big on the colors and the color matching. So sometimes a player can go to another team, like Luka, for instance. His Lakers cards the yellow and purple doesn't really mesh with the grays and the whites and the blues in Dallas. So that kind of disrupts the flow a touch, but it's okay. Part of basketball history. One player who I'm really happy just switched teams is Desmond Bane. I think that the transition from the Grizzlies to the Orlando Magic colors, that page is still going to be very consistent in the way it looks. So that's pretty exciting in the color front. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, like, because you say 9 players, and I know you try and get each team. Like, if you would pull out some Bucks cards that maybe previously you liked, and to free up slots, or if you would just add like another 9
Oh,
piece.
yeah. So I would. I mean, sometimes it's tough, but I will take out what I consider the uglier cards, or what I like to do is in the center have like almost like a portrait shot or a shot where the player is facing forward, and then all the other 8 slots are kind of almost pointing towards the center.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how I do it. So sometimes I get a new card that fits a certain slot, like he's facing this way or whatever it is, and I may take some of those out. But it does get tough sometimes if I have a lot of nice looking cards of a certain player. But
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is one too that has like lots of great action shots on a lot of his cards. So I can imagine, and with the plethora of designs, and he's such a good player, he's in almost every set. I'm sure it's hard to narrow it down.
yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, which one do I take out? And other players, it's easier. But yeah, he's certainly a tough one. But that's when I start decorating the second page.
Do you try to like budget yourself a certain amount per card or per player or per page, or is it just kind of whatever you think and you want and you like?
So I go with what I think is the coolest designs, and less so like people go after kabooms because they're expensive. Like I just even if it was $10, I don't even know if I'd buy it. It doesn't really look that nice to me. So I guess it's personal and what I think is nice. But I definitely try to make sure I get if they play it on a team and I don't have it, I need to make sure I hunt it down and add it. So you may have seen my story, some of you this last couple of days, and I've been trying to be positive with Tops and the new Fanatics Tops and Tops Chrome, and they released Thaddeus Young on the checklist on the Suns, which I know Kyle wasn't too thrilled about because it's kind of older, but to me, I'm like, they released it. They actually have a Suns Thaddeus Young card. I probably was the only person on planet Earth that was excited about that, and so I was thrilled. But a horizontal card, it disrupts the flow, man. So even if I need the Suns card on his page, it's going on the back. It's disrupting the flow. And if anyone asks me, it's like just turn the page. It's on the next.
Because for all those people that are going to go through your binders, and when they get to the whatever number letter T is in your hoarding collection, they're going to be like, "Oh, you don't have that Young Sons card. I discredit all of you."
I've had some people mention stuff to me before, like, and not many people go through my binders, to be honest, other than me. But I've had some people be like, "Where's that one?" I'm like, "Oh, it's on the next. It's ugly, but I have it."
I will say with Topps Chrome, the fact that they randomly put some cards horizontal when most of the cards are vertical, I think is like sacrilegious to me. Like if you want to have a photo variation, but I think there should be uniformity in a base set, right? For that exact reason. I mean, I think collecting cards, like you shouldn't have, if it's a 300 card set, you shouldn't have 80 of them just randomly be oriented the other way. Like I said, photo variation's fine, but like I want a base set to be a base set and be able to kind of like collect and catalog teams, etc. Like that would irk the ever living hell out of me. Not even just, I just don't think you can do that.
And I've been a baseball guy for years, so as everyone knows, they kind of carbon copied from the previous baseball set from this year. And one thing that bothered me with baseball is that, like, in a set of Series 1, Series 2, like 650 or so players, they'll have like maybe 100 or 150 horizontals, and that I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, it definitely gets in the way. One last thing before I want to pass it on to someone else's binder here, but the Topps. One last mention on Topps Chrome in terms of a weird little thing I noticed in terms of players and new uniforms. I wanted to mention Cole Anthony. They put Cole Anthony's card in on the Memphis Grizzlies. He never played a game on the Grizzlies. He was there for, I think, a month in between June and July. And for some reason, they felt that they really needed to get that one card in this set. I'm thrilled, but I thought that was like,
So you like that even though he never played a game for the Grizzlies?
yes,
you still want that?
It exists. Like in baseball, I would do this, and Jose Canseco was an expo for a little while, but he never played for them. But it's kind of cool and gimmicky. It's like, you can tell that story whenever it pops up. So I thought that was interesting, but also kind of weird.
What's the photo of If he never played a
Um,
game, is it airbrushed on, or is it like him photo
I
shoot?
think they did the Kevin Durant deal, like Photoshop with the Rockets. They kind of put
It's
it on him.
interesting. Why they choose a team like that?
Yeah, like if they're gonna put him in there, just put in like 30 or 40 guys. If he's available, like they could have put in other guys from the trade deadline last year. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you guys don't like the horizontal cards because I didn't people love that in 07 and 08 Chrome and tops. I mean, I
Well, I
feel
want
like
to say 0910 had both quite frequently. They had a bunch of horizontal, they had a bunch of vertical.
Yeah, those Kobe's and the Bronze.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that much a stickler about it, but it does. Yeah, it does kind of look weird as you're going through. You're, constantly shifting the binder to see.
And from those years specifically, they looked great. They really do look good. You're a binder collector like me, and everything is vertical. I can't put one of those in my binder on those pages. That's just from my personal perspective.
All right. Well, now that we're talking about Topps Chrome, I got to show off a binder.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Because this is the best set that Topps Chrome's ever had, in my opinion. And that is 0607. You guys are familiar with that?
My first set, by the way, when I was a kid.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. And these are all refractors. So this is a set I put together. I actually have a YouTube video about this if anybody wants to watch it. But this is the refractor set. This is back when you could reasonably put sets together. They're very shiny. The only ones I think I'm missing a couple of the variation rookies, I think. But the rookies were numbered. I don't know if I can adequately show that, but one thing we were talking about when we were talking about this backstage is just the photography. In my opinion, I mean, you look at this stuff. Some of them are action shots, but I'd say it's like 80 to 90% guys at least doing something. I mean, even if they're just shooting, but a lot of dunk shots, a lot of defenders in the photo. I think that's nowadays we're missing that a lot. Is you get so many cropped photos in these cards. It's just kind of like, I don't know, back when I used to collect that kind of stuff and put those sets together, I always liked, okay, this is from a game, and you can see a defender and you can see somebody going up for the block. And sometimes the guy that was featured in the card itself was like actually just blocking somebody. He wasn't even shooting, but now it's all like singled out. I'm going to hold a ball. I'm going to dribble. It's like, like switched. It's like 80 to 90% of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I've stated my thoughts on Tops and Fanatics previously, so I don't need to go over that, but I am not buying any of it. I really don't have any interest. I was hoping they could come out with like a set that just wowed me and maybe, I'd ditch my morals and go after it, but it just hasn't been the case. So, I'll go back to those sets, and it's hard to complete those anymore, especially some of the sets with like the hotter rookies. That's been kind of one of my things is just going back and getting stuff. So this is my binder of probably what you're referring to, Tim, was all the refractors nugget sets. So I'm kind of big on doing that and have been for years. So I think I spent that whole year just going and taking photos of this binder, but it's all Nuggets team sets. So that's really what I'm more into and have been for the past 8-9 years at this point. I don't know, can you guys see some of that stuff?
Yeah, it looks good, buddy.
Yeah, we'll put some photos up for our edited video. But
those 03 finest golds, so nice.
Yeah, I'm just kind of.
And Ryan, are you missing anyone in particular at this point, or just maybe higher rarities?
I pretty much finished Chrome, so I'm missing maybe. I don't have blacks in here because I'm missing a couple of the blacks, but I've finished the refractors and the golds for all years. So going back to finest and stuff too, those were like a little bit harder to track down, especially in like the 2000s era. A lot of those just don't show up and they're weird numbering. Like I can't remember the exact year. I'd want to say it's 0405 or 0506 or something like that. They were like numbered really oddly, and like there's different parallels for the golds, and I'm like, which one do I chase? So I just kind of didn't do that at first, but now I'm going back to it a bit. But that's always been my thing, is just going after team sets, and that's really fun for me. So,
Are there any super collectors, other super collectors that you know who maybe corner the market in those 2000s cards, and they're not letting them go, or you just don't see them?
Not really. I mean, like those 607s golds, top scrum golds were the lowest numbered out of 25. I put that together so many years ago that it just really wasn't a thing. There are people now going after like a set of golds, so they're harder to come by. And actually, I sold a bunch of mine to like a guy that was chasing the set, just because I was kind of just buying them here and there back in the day. But I kept my Nuggets ones. I haven't sold those. So, but yeah, that's kind of my thing, is just doing the team sets. It's always been fun for me. So that's what I got for binders.
I saw what looked to be some 04 pristine golds in there. Is that what those were?
Yeah.
What do you think of those? I've seen a lot of talk of those recently as being some of like the more slept on parallels.
These ones right here.
No, I think
wait,
these are
hold on.
03. The one.
Yeah,
They're on the-
out of 27 and out of 25s. Yeah.
Yeah, these are pretty cool. Wish I could own a Carmelo at some point, but yeah, these are nice cards. They got like the die cut around them, and these were oddly numbered to 27. Why the silvers were numbered to 25. So
I've heard a lot of hype on those in the last year or two, and I've always thought they were cool, but I've never owned one. I didn't know it. They really stood
yeah, I think
up to everything.
I'd say, like, talking about photography, if you're going to do a design around it and crop the player out, obviously this is very kind of 2000s computer graphics style, like with the lines behind him or whatever that is, that to me is like the way to do a crop player photo. I just think it stands out. You had Chrome, and that's why I'm so disappointed about Chrome, to be honest, is just because it was always like about the action shots, whereas stuff like Finest and maybe, the one-offs they did, like these pristine stuff like that, was more about the design and the crop player photo. I mean, maybe others have different opinions on that, but that's what I miss most about the Chrome stuff. Even though I'm licensed, it looked like Finest to me. It's like, and they just copied baseball this year, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's well said about the pristine stuff, Ryan. I think they're different because I mean I haven't looked at mine in hand in a while, but the refractor is almost just that background color behind the player, and then it's a little bit more of a not a paper stock, but a base chrome behind it. So it was definitely, and pristine has still existed on and off in baseball for up until modern days, and it's always the configuration of the box is a little different. There's encased cards. It's just a different product, and they definitely did, especially around the Kobe's spiked big time, Adam, and I think the Kobe's have continued to carry the value of that over the last few years.
Yeah.
What I appreciated, Ryan, about you showing off is just, I mean, we can all, for those that listen to just the audio, Ryan's not in a well-lit room. He's just in his house and just a little bit of background lighting. The shine on that first binder was just, I mean, no matter what angle you held it at, we could see the refraction, of the cards. And I just appreciate the quality of the cards back then. And then what you missed, Joey, was I know we're going to be off for a little bit, but I also work in public education, so I'm going to have a few weeks to myself. So I am going to, for anybody that follows our YouTube page, I'll probably put up a video or two of a couple binders, throughout the next couple of weeks. It won't be a live feed or anything like that, but I'll definitely show off some of my binders. My approach is much different to how Tim and Ryan do it, and so maybe stay tuned to the YouTube channel because I'll try and show off a few there. But I didn't bring any with me because I didn't even know if I was going to join you guys for the feed. So,
well, all of us with our binders, we could sit here forever and geek out on it. So maybe we move on to the next topic because I'm sure we all have them and you go.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I could probably talk to you guys about your binders for a couple hours each. So yeah, we'll spare everyone that. But probably much different than what we normally talk about, and is from yesteryear NBA, and that's about vintage cards. Are you pro buying high grades or low grades? And if anyone can get into that, I don't know if like Adam, you probably, and Steve probably have a lot to say, but
I was going to say, I'm going to pass it to Adam on this one, but just sort of set the table. I mean, I think Adam started this conversation a lot when he was talking about his Mike and rookie, and I think we kind of looked at the card itself versus the grade, and I think I'll let you kind of take it from there, Adam. But I know Adam and we have different things about vintage cards that we look for. So, but neither of it is primarily the grade. There's different aspects that to both of us appeal as far as how we look at cards. So I'll pass it to you, Adam, to get started on that piece.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really tough situation because obviously everybody's budget's different. So, I mean, if you have an unlimited budget, buy the nicest card you can afford of the best grade you can find. But most of us have a budget and have some constraint. But for me, I think there's kind of a balance. I don't want one card in my set to be a PSA 10 and the other card to be a PSA 1 that looks vibrantly different. So I want there to be some level of kind of eye appeal across the board, but it also comes down to how I'm buying it. So I buy most of my cards online, like I think most of us do. Certain grade parameters kind of get you into an area of knowing what the card is going to be. Like, so just as an example, if it's a PSA 5 or better, it can't have a crease in it. Really shouldn't, based off the parameters PSA puts in place. So if you're buying a card and you know it's a PSA 5 or better, you don't have to worry whether there's a crease that you can't see or something like that in the cards. That's generally where I look to buy cards, is usually in that PSA 5 range or better. And I tend to try to stay around somewhere in the same amount of grade points as the decade of the card. So if it's from the 50s, a 5, a 60s, a 6, 7, and up from there. And that's not an exact science, obviously, but just as a ballpark. But like both Steve and I have a 57 top set. We both have no lower grades than a 5. I don't know what Steve's highest graded card is. I think mine's a 7.5. So like in that range is my entire set: 5, 6, 7, 7.5, in that ballpark. So to me, I think that's where you find the best value. Obviously, you can find cards in that set that are 9s that are crazy expensive. Like a card that might be, I don't know, $200 in a 7 might be $5,000 or $10,000 in a 9, just because of how rare the pop is. But I think you can find a lot of similar qualities in the same cards at grades that are much lower and much less expensive. And I have cards that are PSA 1s that if I put up on the screen that you would look at and be like, from the screen, I can't even tell why it's that, but then it has a crease in it, and that's kind of what goes back into knowing what you're buying and why I usually buy 5s or better unless I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah, and I think that's well said, Adam. The only thing I'll add to that, and this doesn't apply as much, even though we're hoops hobby hangout. This doesn't apply as much to basketball because there's only so many like true vintage basketball sets. But I am big on understanding the set I'm buying and what some of the things, some of the sort of the natural defects, right, might be. And so for me personally, the most important factor when I'm buying a vintage card is saturation of color. I hate faded cards, but I also hate cards that, like, some sets have a lot of what they call snowing to the background. So the background might, if it's supposed to be a full color, might have a lot of white spots to it, or like where it's supposed to be red might look a little orange or yellow. And that, I would rather have a card off center than I would have a card with some coloration issues. So I really look for saturation of color, and I think that plays not as much 57 tops because a lot of those are sort of darker photos. But when you start getting into the flare products in the 60s, really saturation of color because they're such vibrant cards matters. But then also knowing stuff like there are just some sets, in the vintage baseball collectors can probably name them off. There are some sets that were just chronically miscut. Just it was such low production quality back then. Knowing what cards were on the edge of a sheet, so you're more likely to have centering issues. Like there's a little bit of knowledge that goes into knowing the set and kind of what you're willing to put up with. And then obviously, like Adam said, budget's the biggest piece, right? So I have 100%. When I bought my Bill Russell rookie, I found a PSA 6 that was the selling for the ask on it was what a PSA 5 was at the time. I definitely bought that just because it was a 6. Like, to me, the 5s and 6s are in the same realm. So if I can get a whole grade bump with no extra money put into it, sure, I'll do that. But I'm big on sort of the eye appeal, what it looks like, but then also within the set. So like 57 tops has horrible centering issues. I'm going to be okay with that if I can get a card where the black background is a nice rich black and not speckled or miscolored. So knowing the set and just thinking about what's important to you. I know there's several people that centering is their primary thing, and so they're willing to handle some other things. Maybe they're fine with a crease in the back or rounded corners or yellowing to what should be white paper if they can get centered cards. So it really, I think it comes to a personal preference as well.
And you mentioned the Fleer sets. I just grabbed those. They were sitting next to me. It just has like an example. These two came to mind. I remember them. I'm not trying to hide the grades, but like this is a Al Greer rookie. that I think looks great. I've never replaced this card because I think it looks better than the numerical grade that's associated with it. And here's a Carl Braun that I think looks extremely similar, but then one's a 4.5 and one's an 8. So it's like it's one of those things like I could probably buy this card in a 7 or an 8, but am I going to get any more card out of that? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I only bought this in an 8 because I couldn't find a lower grade. I would have been fine with a 5, 6, whatever. But only when I found SGC grade, it was an 8, so I bought it. But it's one of those things like a lot of times you buy the card, not the grade, as cliche as that sounds, but there's plenty of cards out there that are 2s and 3s and 4s that look great. And if you're okay with the crease, buy those. They're so much cheaper. But I personally don't love creased cards, obviously. I don't think anybody loves them, but I try to avoid it. So I try to stay in that 5 or better range just to give myself the peace of mind of knowing that they won't be creased.
So I'm not too into or too knowledgeable about vintage basketball, more so baseball, but I just want to chime in because I don't know if I'll ever get a chance again in my life. That's the first Carl Braun reference I've ever seen, and it's the first Carl Braun card I've ever seen myself. He's actually from my town, Garden City, New
Very
York.
cool.
Funny enough, just coincidentally.
Well, fun fact of that, then, he's the only player in 48 Bowman, 57 Tops, and 61 Fleer.
Yep.
Really?
Very interesting. Yeah, Mark put in the chat that he's got the 61 Fleer in action set, and he tried to put together the lowest grade, decent appeal. And yeah, obviously eye appeal's like a big conversation these days. And if anyone's like interested in learning about vintage, maybe not necessarily basketball, but just in general, there's so many vintage baseball channels. Like that's what got me into watching a lot of card stuff on YouTube to begin with, is that there's a lot of vintage baseball channels on YouTube, and they really get into the weeds on cards and stuff. So yeah, definitely check that out if you want more vintage info. Let's get into another one, which is Evan, Pristine Paper. He asked, what are your plans for your collection long term? Passing them down to your family, something else. So yeah, do you guys have long term plans for your collection, or what do you plan to do in however many years when it's no longer yours but someone else's?
I saw that one, and I immediately thought what I told my wife probably a couple months ago, maybe a year ago. I was like, if I get hit by a truck, I got a buddy. His name is Rob. You've met him. He's been over to the house a couple times, and we nerded out on cards. I was like, don't bring him to Goodwill. Call him. He will sort through it and get you some good prices for it. But yeah, other than that, my kids are going to inherit a bunch of crap, and I'll be gone, so who cares what they do with it? They can sell it or enjoy it or whatever. But I'm hoping that I've instilled enough like collecting like into them that they'll want to keep them, and they're excited about it, especially Nuggets. Like my oldest is really into the Nuggets, so we watch the games and stuff. So I feel like maybe he'll keep the stuff, but then when he's in his 20s or something, he might go, wow, Dad's got this Jokic card that's worth a ton of money, let me go pawn it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you mentioned go ahead. No, so I was just saying, I was just going to spin off. Ryan mentioned the kids. So my daughter's not going to care at all. She loves to spend time with me, is into basketball and loves her WNBA stuff. But that's more because it connects to the games we go to. My son's got the collecting gene. Adam's had to hear about it, Ryan. He's 6 years old. He collects. He organizes everything from his Halloween candy up to his cards. So
awesome.
If they have interest in it, but I have already in the back of my mind, like when I reach a point that it's not fun, I will sell most of it off unless they'll be old enough. Like I still buy cards almost every day, at least $1 card. So, and I also, my Jay Crowder card, I am very well aware, as I consider every Jay Crowder card I get to be sunk money. Like it's just for the fun of collecting. Yeah, there's logo, like there's cards in there that will have value because of the sets or whatever. I, at some point, envision myself trying to contact him, be like, would you want this collection for your family? Because it's literally almost every Jay Crowder card. Plus, like, I have his freaking game-worn college jersey, right? Like, I have stuff in that collection. So the only thing I had planned on, like, actually being, like, inheritance is my 57 top set. Like, I've told my wife, like, these are the binders it's in. They're all graded. It'll be an easy sell. Like, I think that is, like, I don't believe in alternative assets, but I think a vintage, relatively mid to high grade basketball set with key rookies is fine. The rest of the stuff I will, at some point probably move, and whether it be for college money or to help the kids with a car or something. I think a lot of it will probably dissipate over time, and then. But I also collect Legos. I have mountain bikes. I've said before on the show, so I have stuff. I'm a stuff guy, and I'm not good. I'm going to try not to just burden my family with all of that. I'd rather burden them with some cash in the bank at some point.
On that note, I'm going to be the exact opposite. I don't
Yeah,
have
you
kids
will.
yet, but when I do, I just want to burden the shit out of them. I'm going to enjoy everything I have, and they can figure it out for themselves. I also like stuff. I have lots of different things, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can do it, and my wife or future children can figure it out for themselves.
That's where I'm at, man.
Yeah, I mean, my wife knows what things are worth. I don't lie to her, so she's not going to be the one that goes and says, "Hey, you take this stuff for $100." She's not that foolish about it. She knows a few things that mean a lot to me, and I told her maybe keep these as a memory if that ever happened. But other than that, get some money and hope it takes you a while to get it, and you have to earn it.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I'm gonna keep doing this as long as I can, and as long as these eyes keep working. It's kind of like the dream that Ryan said, to be able to share this hobby with your kids. And I did this with baseball. I sold that before I got married, and helped finance this, the wedding, but also basketball card collecting as well, to go full fledged into that. But it really is the dream to share that with your kids one day, if I'm fortunate enough to have them, which is the plan. And to, collect and hunt for these guys, but really discuss the history with them. Because growing up, I was obsessed with looking at the back of these cards and learning about all these guys. And to be able to collect and then watch the games with, my children would be the dream. And hopefully they connect with it somewhat to the level that I do. And if one day, and I'm not here, and, they can turn that into money. So if that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. But as long as I'm allowed to enjoy it, as long as I need to, or I can, then I will have felt success in that way, and especially if I can enjoy it with them for a period. But if I'm not here, worst case, they make some money.
I love that mindset. Like, I certainly don't care what my family eventually does if I keep cards until after I die or whatever. But like the mindset, I feel like when this question comes up, everything I hear is about I got to make sure that I have few enough cards so that my family can sell them or move them, or maybe I sell them before I die or whatever. And I love that mindset where you're just like, this is something I get joy out of. So I'm going to do it as long as I can until I have no capacity to do anything anymore. And hopefully that helps something I can bond with my kids over and whatever. So it's a cool mindset. I like that.
And just to quickly go back, growing up, my dad he was a big reader, and he loved history. One of those World War II, Cold War spy books, Tom Clancy, Dan Brown kind of guy. And so I read a lot about those topics, and he had a big bookshelf, and I just kept digging in it. He liked sports, but he was more a history guy, and I am as well. But for me, I would love it if I had a shelf A to Z of basketball history since 1990, or maybe one day even deeper. And my kid would, without me even being there, want to learn about them and just kind of understand each jigsaw piece puzzle of basketball history in a sense, and put it all together and just enjoy that journey. I think that would, to see them enjoying it without me pushing it on them necessarily, I think that would be, I made it, in terms of the long-term goal of this collection.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Awesome. I think we can go on to the next thing, which is, you guys want to share what project you're working on right now that you are most excited about. So this comes from two TWO, the number 2 sports cards. What is the project you're most excited about right now?
I would say for me personally, it's just finding cards of like my lower end players, as I call them, like Gallinari and Gary Harris, just because it's harder to find that stuff, and it's kind of fun to put together binders. I think I'm up to 12, 13, like actually finally putting cards into a binder for Gallinari, and then I've made it second year for Gary Harris. So I've got these giant boxes and I just find stuff and buy it. It's like your sunk cost, Steve, for Jay Crowder. That's all sunk cost. You know, I'm not getting probably any of that money back unless it's some 101 or something that somebody's chasing for a set, but not necessarily a project, but it's just like a long-term collecting thing where I constantly look for their stuff and it's just fun to do. So that's mine.
Yeah, I mean, your player PCs, I think. I guess I don't know if that's a project. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Not necessarily a project, like a very long-term project. I'm not specifically going after like the full run or anything. It's just, you know, picking up stuff that I find is cool, sorting them in a binder, putting them together, stuff like that.
Yeah, I can go real quick. For me, I think it's the stat line memorabilia set from 15-16 preferred. I mean, the fact that this week I got the second to last card and then this question came in, I just feel like it reinvigorated. I feel like now I'm checking, eBay twice or three times a day, whereas before I just check it once a day, and then like Card Hobby every day and stuff. So I just feel like that Clay Thompson's going to show up and I need to be ready. So, so yeah, that's the one I'm most excited about. I mean, it's been something I've been doing I mean, casually, I've probably been picking up cards from that set for 8 years or something, but like seriously going after the set for 6 years, I think. And I I think that I've passed up on stuff. Like there's stuff like that Dirk that was on eBay for a while for like $550 or whatever. That Dirk that was on eBay and like other Dirks or Clays that have sold in the last 6 years that I'm like, oh, I don't really like that patch or whatever, so I haven't bought it. And I wasn't close enough to the set to excuse buying a patch I didn't like. But yeah, that's the one where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to restrain myself. Any Clay Thompson that comes up, like I probably will be reasonable. Like I won't pay $1,000 or something for it, but yeah, I'm very excited to try to finish that.
Yeah, that's your white whale right now, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I suppose I definitely do have a white whale, but I guess I don't know if it's hard enough to find to call a white whale, but yeah, that's definitely like the card right now where I am. If there's one card where I'm saying like, oh, money's tight, I'm not going to buy a card. Well, I'll sell a card so I can buy that card. It'll be easy to do. It's not gonna be crazy. Whatever.
I'll send you some pictures, Joey. This is related but unrelated, and talking about last week how we store our cards and stuff. I'll send you a picture. A friend of mine, and actually of Adam's as well, put together a very specific Celtics autographed team set. He got this like really cool. So it fit. He had someone make it, probably 3D printed or whatever. These little frames for it. And he put them up on his wall in a sorted pattern. It looks awesome. So if you ever wanted to like display a set, I'll show you what he did just as far as like jogging your memory a little bit, because at some point I think when you have all this together, and especially booklets are so hard to display, figuring out some way that you can really appreciate them, because that's such a unique set that I think some sets deserve a little VIP treatment when you do finish it up.
Yeah, it's definitely the plans are to display it in some capacity. However, I feel or find is the best way to do it, because I do feel like it's almost museum-y, game dated patches with the image of the game, stats from it. I do think that that's the goal there for
Cool.
sure.
I look forward to seeing you finish that up in 2026.
I hope so.
So I guess I'll go real quick. I'm always working on the A to Z stuff. I'm about to jump into the E's by February and really dive into those. But specifically, certain types of sets that I'm diving into right now is those mid to late 90s Topps Finest refractors. I'm really loving those and the shines on those, as long as they're not too green, like the whatever that is that makes them green material. But one other long-term project, if I could show it real quick. I don't see many people at all, other than if it's their alumni, sharing college cards that much. And I love the NBA, but I love the NCAA a lot, and I've been watching it pretty religiously since about 06 or 07. And I'm a Stony Brook guy, so I have a lot of passion for my school. But I decided in my A to Z collection to try to get at least one card of that player in college if they made it, and start to make a college binder, so to speak. So I'm not a Florida guy, but I started in 06, 07, so I love these Florida teams personally. But I found this binder and I thought, I'll use this as my college binder. I won't go through all of it, but I'm starting to do a page or two of all the universities I've come up with so far. You can see Arizona there has some interesting ones, like a Michael Dickerson autograph, or Jared Bayless, or Mike Bibby, Chris Mills up there. But it's just one binder right now. I envision this is probably going to be a couple, down the line. But Gonzaga, lots of Drew Timme. I love him. But I love filling it in with older guys as well. If I could find someone here. Like a Danny Wolf's I love on Michigan. Or even guys that didn't really make it in the NBA, but I just remember them playing there. Like Rutgers have been very big into even before the, Harper and Bailey got there, because Stony Brook's former coach, Steve Peichel, moved to Rutgers. So I'm a big Ron Harper guy. And so I find this to be fun too. And I don't see many people collecting college. Can anyone point me in the direction of anyone on Instagram who does collect college basketball cards?
Like you said, school specific. So not mostly '90s basketball cards is a buddy of mine, and he's a huge Wisconsin fan, and but he's done a couple of he's done a couple of the press pass collegiate relic sets from the '90s, and he's got a couple of different sets that are pretty obscure and rare that he focuses on from like the actual playing time of some of the collegiate stars from the '90s and early 2000s. That's really fun to follow along with.
Right. Yeah, I try not to ever touch non-contemporary cards, whether it's the A to Z or in the college stuff. I like, if they have it, cards from the years they were there.
Yeah, really cool.
Adam, any projects you're working on?
Kind of like Ryan, most of my stuff is kind of like a long burn, not necessarily a project. The one thing I thought of that I don't know that I've talked about was that Topps Living set that came out.
Oh yeah.
See if I can pull one out here. Binder show off thing isn't the easiest to do. For whatever reason, the set came out of order in terms of shipping, so I'm still missing the maxi, but we got 4 in hand right now. There we go.
Those were really good.
Oh wow!
Set.
I love that Brunson.
Yeah, so it's the 57 design. They're all like art design cards. They come out once per week, one player per week, and they just make a print run of however many sell. So I think right now the most rare one's the one that still is kind of like lost in transit, Tyrese Maxey. And then Russell came out. This week was Durant, and one other one, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. But the print runs have been anywhere from, I think LeBron was like some ridiculous number, 40,000, but the rest of them have been around 5,000 each. And Tyrese was, I think, 4,400.
And those are print to order. So what was it called? You just like go online to Topps' website and purchase one of those cards. And how much is one?
$9 with shipping.
Okay.
If you buy more, they give you I think it goes from $9. If you buy 5, it's $6.50. To where if you buy 25, it goes down to $4.50.
That's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, 9 with shipping is not horrible. So I've only bought one of each one, other than the Russell. I bought 5 of those just to have a few extras, and also there is parallels of them. So they have a superfractor of every one. They have a refractor. They have a foil to 10. I think one other version. So it'd be cool if I got a special version of the Russell, but I just wanted to have a couple extras as well.
And are those like Topps now, where with every order they randomly insert the parallels, or do you purchase the parallels specifically?
No, you can't purchase them specifically. It's completely random. And that's partially why like the LeBron was such a high print run. There, I saw videos of people buying hundreds of them in just hopes of getting better versions. So it's one of those things that some of the players are going to have print runs that are just ridiculous for people chasing, thinking they know better and can buy enough of them to offset the print run. But like I said, most of them I think every card other than LeBron has been somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 print run.
So Joey, you paying attention to the chat?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hondo's.
I hear you, Hondo. Let me know. Let me know if you need help contacting me or something. But I don't know what this mysterious app is, but I look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah, so that means after the holidays on our next episode, you may have that card.
We might have an
hopefully.
update.
Or
Yeah,
at least an update on maybe potentially acquiring it.
I did say that was my Christmas wish, a big card for the PC. So
And if you finish the set by going to some like Asian black market secondhand, like takes 3 translators type thing and picked up but in hand at an airport, that'll just be
you
excellent.
have a kidney to spare, so we'll see.
I'll just wrap the thing that, and I'm not going to nerd out about it too much. I am super excited about really just nerding out on my Jay Crowder stuff. His final year should have been 24-25 basketball. So he came into the league 12-13. So he was kind of along for the entire Panini run. And the last few years I've been pretty burnt out on it. I've stuck with it because I was too deep into it, but just the print runs and the parallels have been through the roof the last few years. So just kind of burnt out at chasing all the random scope parallels and everything. So I'm at a point now where I have like 88% of his entire print run, and I can now just sort of sit back and just hunt for the oddball stuff. And that doesn't mean like short print. There's just like oddball stuff. Like, there's a few years of Panini stickers and stuff, so there's like oddball stuff that I can start to just focus on. And it's not an expensive thing other than like Tim said, some stuff, just the number of cards I buy for $2 adds up over time, obviously. But, it'll be fun to just sort of hunt that stuff down. There is some rare stuff and some valuable stuff I need, but I'm really looking forward to just not buying Jay Crowder cards in bulk anymore and just picking up, a couple a year that I need for the checklist. So that'll be fun. And as far as new projects, I've actually finished a lot off in the last couple of years. So I've been looking at, I found like every week I'm looking at fewer and fewer basketball cards and more like pop culture cards, or a few. I've been looking at a lot of like Mookie Betts Red Sox cards recently. So sort of diversifying my interests over the last few months, but no specific projects, just the slow burn. I'm always buying something or looking at something or talking to Adam about something. So just having fun with it.
I'll join you soon in the Jay Crowder collecting because I got to pick up a King's card or 2 of his. So I'll be on the Crowder boat very soon.
Before you do, let me know. I'm sure I have something I can send you. I can add something to your collection.
That was recent. That was one of his last teams, right?
It was his very last team. They signed him in December because they had a bunch of injuries, and they actually, instead of giving him a 10-day, gave him a full rest of the year contract. So he played. I know he started a couple games, but he probably only played from December through the end of the year. I don't know, maybe I should know 15 games, maybe. But he was sort of the cheerleader on the bench for them.
I think they made a card, right, Joey? What set was
he was Optic 24-25 is a King's card.
Yeah. I just, since we only have one thing left, would anyone mind if I just throw it in there? The last topic that was brought up.
I mean, you brought it up. You might as well at this point. You just threw it up.
You can reject me. I mean, we've never gone 10 minutes over an hour. So, okay, it's from Tasty Card Sandwich. He said, all the, I'm going to word it exactly how he worded it and then give my interpretation. In case I'm wrong, I'm going to read his wording. It's all the extra cards people could buy if they didn't waste money on slabbing. So I think that the general topic is how much money is wasted on grading and how much you could buy cards rather than that.
Oh man, you had to bring that up after 10 minutes over.
Yeah, can you mute Ryan? Can you mute him?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that for an hour sometime. I mean, I think, are we all in agreement? Like, I don't want to spend money. I don't collect graded cards, and usually if I pick them up, it's usually with the intention to either resell them and buy it raw or crack them out. Like I did that with some of the rarer Rashawn Holmes mosaic cards I was collecting. Like I picked up a PSA 10, and then once I got a raw version, I sent the PSA 10 off to COMC or COMC. So
yep.
Is that kind of how you guys approach things? Like,
yeah, I mean, most of the cards I buy are in the $5 to $50 range. And if for every one of those, so let's just say my average spend is $25. If for every single one of those, I also spent $25 to grade a card, I'm cutting the number of cards I want to buy in half. It's not, I understand why people do it. I have friends that try and collect insert sets and they want all PSA 10s. To me, I'm like, well, you could have finished the insert set if you weren't also paying to grade them, and then flipping the 9s, then trying again to grade or find a 10. But that becomes part of the hunt, part of the chase. People enjoy it. I get it. For me, I mean, the next card I have coming in from ComC is the one that I'm looking forward to is a Mookie Betts Allen Ginter card. Before I even bring it out of the office and up into my collection, it will be busted out of the PSA 9 slab. So that's how I collect. And I can't imagine giving PSA my money right now. Like, I would just look at that as I could go out and at least buy a box of wax and have fun with it and still be burning my money. So, but I truly do respect why people grade. It's not, I don't think any of us, other than wanting to have the authentication of a vintage card and or to have something to sell and knowing you can get more money for it. I don't think a lot of us. I know a lot of us aren't into grading. So I'm with you, Tasty Card. It's to me, I want the cards. I don't want the slabs. So I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah, my wife makes fun of me for not drinking coffee. I've never tasted it, but if I don't need to have it, I find that to be saving money. So I'm a binder guy. I don't get slabs either. Coffee, no slabs, or cards. That's how I see it.
That's how I am too. I'd say when it comes to slabs, there's a purpose for them, and it's vintage because the condition was all over the place. It makes sense. Modern, I get what you're saying, Steve. Maybe people want to have some consistency, but can you tell the difference between a PSA 9 and 10?
No.
Can you look at them? I've actually had Gary Harris cards, graded during the pandemic, and I ended up just buying them because I was like, I'll put a $5 bid on that. One a 10, one a 9. I look at them, I see no difference. I mean, there's probably some slight little corner thing, or maybe, I don't know, centering or something like that, but it's just crazy to me to pay up for something so minuscule on a modern card. Pay up when it matters. That's kind of been my philosophy on it.
Yeah, and I think that like for me, I kind of feel the same way about storage and display. Like, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but the cost of like putting, I know Adam, you put all of your stuff in one touches, right? For me, the cost of that, I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars to one touch every one of my cards, because then I could just buy more cards. So but yeah, I kind of feel you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like one touches, but at the same time, I'm not going to be opposed to like a top loader. If just depending on whatever it is, I keep whatever it's in most of the time, unless it's something overly special. But for me, grading is just a waste. I mean, we talked about it earlier with vintage. It's kind of the one space where I think it makes sense. But when I talk about buying a card online, if it's a 5, I know it doesn't have a crease. But when you're buying modern cards, you're buying 8s, 9s, and 10s, and I love when I find a card that I like that's a PSA 7 or 6, where people might be turned off of it, but I know it doesn't have a crease because it's better than a 5. And I know it has a good autograph. That's mostly what I buy, or it has a nice patch, or has a good foil, or whatever it may be. I know that somebody else is being deterred from it because of the numerical grade that means nothing to me, and I'm going to crack it out anyway, 9 times out of 10, if not more. Yeah. So there can be a positive to it where people are being deterred from it. And on the flip side, there are cards that I want that I've bought before that I know I paid 0 premium for, but someone bid against me who did see a premium, and I had to pay extra because of it. So it's like a give and a take.
That's cool. All right. Well, I think that is good. Our good overtime discussion on the cost of grading or storage or whatever versus cards. Just a couple of things to address in the chat. I collect Wade. I think he mentioned his saved searches are slow on eBay in December. I don't know if this is just me, but I'll just say I've had issues with my saved searches where they're not updating. So I don't know if that's what's happening to you too, but they've been better recently, but they weren't updating at all for a while, at least some searches. And then and I think Gary mentioned that he's been on Card Hobby way too much since we talked about it. Yeah, me too. I've like started off with one card and now I'm up to like 10 in my inventory, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep adding until I ship, because if it's all this one lump sum, then I'm just gonna do it. But anyone have anything they want to say or anything before we head out?
No, I think just the people that are listening, I mean, I say we're very disorganized. We haven't talked yet about our schedule for the next few weeks. I mean, you put it out there, Joey, obviously not on Christmas, but we'll keep an eye on Instagram. We'll post as far as like when hangouts will happen, whether it be, right on New Year's Day, or we take, a week or two off, but we'll definitely, keep things posted. And in the meantime, keep an eye on YouTube. I'll throw some content out there, and we'll keep the Instagram feed, active. But definitely we'll be in contact with the people that follow us as far as when the next hangout will be. We haven't the 4 of us or 5 of us haven't talked about it yet. So TBD as far as what January brings for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Actually, Ryan, I wanted to mention I'm coming out to your hood next week.
Oh.
I'm coming out to Denver the day after Christmas. My sister lives out there, so I'm there for the week. So for a week till New Year's. So
nice.
Yeah, maybe I'll
You're gonna miss all the wind. We've had like shutdowns and stuff because of the crazy wind on the past couple days.
Oh, all right. Oh yeah. I don't know if I'm prepared for a Colorado winter, but
yeah. Well, it's been an odd winter with 60-degree days, but just this wind has come through. No snow, no rain or anything. It's just crazy high winds, and they shut down schools and stuff. So, or like
Dang.
neighborhoods and stuff like that because of fire danger. So, interesting times this year.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, yeah. Gary, you too. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. And yeah, hope you guys all have a good holidays, and we'll catch you at some point in the future.
Awesome. Be well, everybody.
You guys.
Bye.